Hey y'all. Sorry, I was trying to set up Instagram at the same time, but Instagram's gonna have to wait. Um, so for those of you that are new to the group, I am Chef Ashley Shep, and I help busy moms get dinner done faster with quick, healthy, and tasty meals. And I wanted to do a quick late night live for you all, just to talk about healthy habits. And so it's the end of the year. We're in December. Some of us are like, I cannot wait for this year to be over. And I thought that this would be a fitting thing to talk about because towards the end of the year and into January, you usually see people saying, all right, new year, new me. And I saw a GIF that was talking about, or not a GIF, it was a meme. And it was saying, I don't see anybody saying 2021 is going to be my year. And we laugh at that and we joke about it. But it can be your year, and the rest of this year can be your year as well. You don't have to wait until a new year comes to start developing these healthy habits or to start creating trends for yourself, because it really is something that you have control over. It's really for the most part. Of course, it depends on your situation. But it is something that you can make small steps towards without having to wait until a certain date. And so I'm just here to give you 3 quick tips to help make your healthy habits stick. And I'm speaking from personal experience. Some of you know, if you've been in the group for a little while, that I joined Noom, which is kind of like Weight Watchers, kind of like, sort of, kind of like some of the other weight loss programs. But it's different because it focuses on the psychology aspect. And so no foods off limits. They didn't even really start talking about exercise until I was a month into the program. It's an app on your phone, so it's very personal in that aspect. But they still have the group mentality of it. You can log your food if you want to. Generally, people have more success with that. And so for me, I did it because it just was something that my son's a year old. It's time to take care of me again. And so, yeah. So these are habits that I'm personally using myself. I love food, obviously. And so, and I eat generally healthy, but then I have things like ice cream. Like, I love ice cream. I can still do that with the program as well. And I have more of portion control as part of my thing. And I noticed that that's what a lot of moms that I work with, they also have that as an issue. And so these are some healthy habits that can help you if you are trying to maybe not lose weight, but maybe just maintain your health, especially now, cold and flu season with COVID as well. It's important to make sure you're boosting your immune system, doing anything you can to just stay generally healthy. And so I'm going to dig right in because it's a late night live. So, so one thing that you can do is to make sure that you are not setting yourself up for failure in terms of having to eat the same foods every day. So people ask me, do you meal prep and do you prep the same foods? So the answer is yes and no. So when I do meal prep, I do more so family style meal prep. So what that means is I will make like sweet potatoes and potatoes. I made those on Monday because they're just easy to throw in the oven, not a lot of work required, and I can build meals around that. So maybe I can do some stuffed sweet potatoes. There's a Greek chicken, it has ground chicken that I do use like Greek seasonings with it, so like dill, coriander, smoked paprika, things like that, garlic, and then I also will do some spinach with it. Tamara has posted her version of that because she's actually part of my program where I plan her meals out for her. But so having those bases, so like doing your starches at the beginning of the week so that they're just ready to go. Because generally starches, so like brown rice, your potatoes, those are going to take longer to cook. And so getting those done on like Sundays or Mondays, whatever day is convenient for you, is one way that you can have the ability to add some variety in, but still have your basics down. And so that would be something that would help to build your meal around it. Another example of that is you could make sure that you are, if you want to meal prep, you can make sure you're doing like 2 preps a week. So you could do one on Sunday and then one on Wednesday. So that way, if you're doing on Sunday, you just have to have enough meals to get through Wednesday. And then same thing with Wednesday. You just have to have enough meals to get through Sunday. And so what that's going to do is to make it so that you are able to not feel like you're eating the same thing all the time because you're only doing it for a couple days, and still also give you the option to not be in the kitchen every day of the week. And when I say you can prep on those 2 days, don't feel like you have to make just one thing. So I always encourage moms or whoever I'm talking to try to do 2 things at a time. And you might think, oh, I mean, I don't want to cook the one thing. But really, when you think about it, moms are natural multitaskers because we don't have a choice. And so you can do that same thing when you're in the kitchen. So maybe you have lunch in the crock pot. Like I just posted some chicken noodle soup, which I eat year round, but it's definitely great this time of year because of the healing properties. The broth is great for your immune system. It has veggies in it, things like that. It's got protein in it. So things of that sort, you could have that going in the Instant Pot or the crock pot, or even on the stove, and then maybe you have something else going in the oven. So y'all know salmon is my thing. I make it once a week. And so maybe you could have some sheet pan salmon, which just means you take a cookie sheet, whatever pan you kind of have, add your salmon. And it doesn't have to be salmon. It can be shrimp, it could be fish, it could be chicken, either way. But I just generally do, on Mondays I do salmon, usually. And so you could add that, add your veggies. So I did broccoli. I chopped it up into bite-sized pieces. And the reason why I did that is because it'll cook the same amount of time as the salmon. And so everything will be done at the same time. I don't have to wait or adjust the cooking times because both of those need about 15 minutes in the oven with if you do it on 425. And so you could have both of those two things going on at the same time. And you essentially, after you put it in the oven and after you kind of do all the prep work, you can go have a seat on the couch. You can go watch your show. You can do whatever you want to do. And it ends up being hands-off cooking because most of the work is done ahead of time. And that's really the key when we are thinking about what to feed our families or really what to feed ourselves is what can we do that gives us the most amount of results with the least amount of effort. And so sheet pan meals are going to be those things that you can throw in your crock pot, your Instant Pot. Those are all going to be things that help you to be efficient in the kitchen. So that tip was making sure that you have a variety of foods to eat that won't make you feel bored. My next tip is to not take on too many different recipes. And so when I talk to people, when I talk to moms, they're like, oh, well, I had this Pinterest board and it has this, and this on it. And then I ask them, how many recipes have you actually made off of that Pinterest board? Or those BuzzFeed Tasty videos or any kind of videos we save on social media. And we're like, okay, I'm going to make this one day. And then we never make the thing because it's just sitting and it's just saved somewhere in our archives. We never make the thing. And so I encourage you to pick just one or two recipes new recipes that you're going to try each week. I find that sometimes people pick 3 to 5 recipes a week, and realistically, you're not going to cook. Well, you might cook 3 nights a week. You're probably not going to cook 5 nights a week. Just because things happen, your kids have things going on, you're tired, whatever. I don't cook 5 nights a week. Max, I do 2 to 3. And so making sure that you're not doing things to set yourself up for failure are very important because that speaks to your mental health of feeling like you're not really feeding your family or feeling like you are not doing it right because you kind of have not put things in place in order to be successful in that aspect. So if you know that you have a busy week or you know there's certain days of the week that are not the best options for you to cook, don't put pressure on yourself to cook those days. That's perfectly fine. All right, so then my last tip is to keep in mind that small changes are still changes, and don't feel like you have to make dramatic changes in order to have an impact. And so when I say that, I mean that even swapping out 1 soda a day. So if you're a soda drinker, even swapping out 1 can of soda for water. Or like I know my mom, when she's done with her soda, she'll rinse out the can and then add water to the can. And so it's just adding more to it instead of taking away. And naturally, if you're adding more water, then you, of course, are not going to have as much room for another can of soda. But even if you're not going cold turkey, even if you're not giving up that item or that thing, like I told y'all know I love ice cream. I've not given up ice cream on this journey. I don't plan to give up ice cream unless my body decides it's no longer having that. But it's important to consider the small steps you can do that are still steps, and they're still worthy of celebration. So even if so far, like I've lost 5 pounds since October, and I had to actually remind myself that that's still an important step. It's still something that I'm better than I was before. It is a minor change, but it's still a step of progress in the right direction. And so maybe for you, that looks like adding half a plate of veggies a night, or maybe adding an extra cup of veggies onto your plate. Maybe that looks like not eating past a certain time of day, or making sure that what you eat past a certain time of day. Sorry, there's one piece of hair, the one that won't curl, is doing its thing. Maybe it looks like not eating certain things past a certain time. So like I try not to eat past 9:30, 10 o'clock, just because those things at that time that I tend to eat then end up being ice cream and snacks and stuff like that. And so that's just something I put in place for myself. So really consider, what baby steps can you take? What things can you do to just kind of amp up your health just a little bit? Maybe it's adding more water. Maybe it's going for a walk on your lunch break. I know a lot of us are working from home, and so being in front of the computer all day or being in front of your kid's computer all day can be really draining on you. And so maybe going out and getting some sunshine, even though it's kind of chilly now. Maybe just taking the steps to go outside of your normal schedule, your normal routine, to add in some additional healthy habits, because those can make a huge impact, because it's just different from what your body's used to. And so just to kind of recap, I am Chef Ashley Shep, the owner of this group, of course, if you're watching inside the Food Fam. And so we were talking about different ways to stick with your healthy habits. So the first one was to give yourself some variety. So if you are prepping your meals, consider prepping 2 things at the same time. So you can have something for lunch and then something different for dinner, so you don't get bored of it. You could do that by adding something in the oven and then adding something different in the crock pot or the pressure cooker on the stove. And things like sheet pan meals are a great option for that. So adding your protein, your veggie, and your starch, adding your seasonings that you like, putting it in the oven, and then adding something like a soup or barbecue chicken or something in the crock pot would be an option for that. The next step is to make sure you're not taking on too many new recipes. So considering if you're going to try out new things, to just try 1 or 2 new things a week, because that's more realistic. You're more likely to stick with it. You're less likely to feel overwhelmed. And then the last thing is to really give yourself credit for those baby steps, because you never know, or not you never know, but those baby steps, they really do make a difference, and they do add up after you keep doing them, because you get momentum, your body starts to see it as a habit, and then it just starts to become a natural part of your routine. So those are my 3 tips for you if you are trying to focus on some healthy habits. You don't have to wait until the new year to have a new year, new you mentality. You can do it now. And coming up later this week and into next week, I will be sharing more information about the Daniel Fast 21-Day Food and Faith Journal, which is going to be the second book that I'm releasing this year. And so if that's something that you are interested in, you can click the link in the description or go to bit.ly/DanielFastList. And that just gives you first notice. You'll get behind the scenes looks, like helping to choose the book cover, getting a sneak peek of the book that will be delivered right away once you sign up for it, and just kind of getting like a little behind the scenes look of what's going on. So things are almost ready with the book. We are finishing up the cover design and then doing final edits in order to get it out so that people can actually use it in January for their Daniel Fast. And if you're somebody that's like, I don't know what the Daniel Fast is, I don't know what you're talking about. So it is a fast, but it's not a fast from all food. So essentially, it's based out of the Bible, the book of Daniel. And during that time in the Bible, he chose to refrain from eating certain foods. And so the way that for 3 weeks, and that's why it's 21 days. And so that's a pattern that we would also follow when we are doing the fast. And it'll be either the first or second week in January if you want to do it with myself. And there's also a separate group that I have that's called the Daniel Fast with Chef Ashley Shep. And I can put that in the comments too. But essentially, while you're doing it, it's an outward sacrifice. So you're sacrificing eating certain foods, not all foods, in order to increase your faith and in order to really refocus yourself back on God and your connection with God, which I know this year has been very trying for a lot of people. And so if you've never done the Daniel Fast or you've never done any kind of fasting with praying together, this might be something you want to consider, because it definitely is something that recenters me, it refocuses me, it helps me to increase my connection with God and to rekindle that relationship. And then it also helps me because I do it with other believers, as well. My church does it. I know a few other churches where I'm in Atlanta, so other churches do it as well. So it's pretty common here for folks to do it. But it's something where I also provide you with recipes and ideas of things you can make and cook. So you're not just wondering what you can eat, so that you can really focus on the faith side of it. So I focus on helping you get physically fed so you can get spiritually fed. And so the book is 21 Days of Devotionals, and it has some meal planning pages in there as well. And I will probably post the preview of the book, but if you sign up at that link, you'll get an immediate preview. So That's coming down the line. I wanted to share that with you all, but I hope that you are having a great week, and we're about halfway through, and I hope that these healthy habits help you as well. Have a good one.